Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Roo. They call me Roo because the last name is Han. It's German. It means rooster, and I paint roosters. Sometimes I paint other things, but the majority of the time I just paint roosters because I think they're poets. I think they're characters. I think they're characters. I think they are the farm bard, a little bit of the troubadour wandering around going, I think I should write a song. I think that's art. And so welcome aboard Roodoodles Live. I try to do these shows Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. I don't know, repeat this, I don't know what I'm going to do after the first of the year. I'm certainly going to do a live show and stay involved with this community. And but I don't know if I'm going to change a format, throw something else out on YouTube. I'm working on that. And it's got me puzzled. I'm puzzled just a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Don't know how I afford to do it. Don't know what I'm going to come up with for time and technology. And you guys have such a community going on that I'm trying to figure out where my place is and what you need next from me. And so I love driving this train a little bit, but most of the time I just ride along and you all have some fun. So I'm trying to figure that out and where I'm going to go next. The desk is a mess. Take a look. I came in late last night. Holy smokes. From a little event I was doing. Well, it's not too bad now, is it? But I spent the last 45 minutes rehooking everything up. I threw out the pins, all these out of my bug out bag. Still have a few of these. If you need a bug out bag for Christmas, I need to mail it in the next couple of days, the way the mail's going. I think I got 10 or 12, maybe a few more down there. You can find them at Roodoodles at Etsy, or you can find them, just go to my website. There's a link there, and there's still plenty of cups. I can get those to you. So I have some mugs, some Roo mugs, which have the, I don't think I can show you this shot, can I? Let's see if I can do this here. Go back to the heads up shot. This is just a right-handed mug right here. See there's the bug out bag mug right there. Boing. I like this rooster head. He's the one that I use most of the time for a little shot up here. I drew him a long, long time ago. Same head as on this. And the new mugs, the ones I have now, this is just has one. They have a rooster on both sides. I call them the right hand and left-handed mug. It's a diner mug. It's made heavy. It weighs 1.5 pounds. Comes in its own little box, or I put it in a box actually. Had to buy the boxes, but comes all wrapped in, and it's good for keeping your liquids drinking with both hands. It's good for milking one goat, I always say. And if somebody takes your purse, you can take them out at 25 feet. Man, it throws well. Funny thing about that, after it bounces across the yard, you might, if it didn't hit a rock wall, you could probably pick it up and use it again. Let me say good morning to you. Heather Kuhlman, thanks for being on the show this morning. Good Tuesday morning. Bob Heidenreich, what he says, morning from the handy-dandy cornfields of Iowa, where I might add, if you're a hammer, everything is a nail, Bob. So you just go around with a hammer going like, that needs to be tightened up. Oh, look at that. Starter doesn't turn. What's wrong with the metal on the barn door? So I've been there, done that. I actually wrote an article, in the late 70s to Grounds Maintenance Magazine, back when we were on a big property, a camp, and we were taking that magazine because guys were just figuring out all the nutrients in the soil. We were behind in the grassy world. Not on the grassy knoll, that's a whole other story. But the crazy thing was, I wrote this and I said, in your maintenance shop, you just need two tools. One is a thumper and a tapper. And The tapper was just a pound, 1 pound cross peen hammer. Each of them had a hole drilled in the bottom with a piece of chain, so you couldn't take them out of the shop. And the other one was a 4.5 pound sledge. Those are 2 tools you can fix just about anything with on the farm. Morning, Beverly Schmidt, all the way from Greenville, South Carolina. Glad to have you on the show. Deborah Spangler, Karen Binder, Linda Schleichning from beautiful Ohio, Deborah Lynn Tauber, here with a cuppa. More power to you. Appreciate that. Large and in charge of the mountains of Veracruz, the Coffee Cowboys checking in. John Robert Small, saw your name pop up last night. Thank you very much. I took a little side road last night and went and dropped off all of my stuff and set it up to do a little live stream for my dear friends at Buffalo Jackson leather company that, man, I carry a couple leather bags and they have some great products. I even have a little, I think it's right here. Let me show you this thing. Is it right here? I got to show you this. This is pretty cool. This is one of my little products from those guys. Let me show you this. I'm not doing another commercial, but I guess I am. Huh? There we go. Here it is right here. Look at this little thing. And I'm just getting ready to put a new field notes piece in there. So it's just a little, it keeps me from, when I carry a little field notes in my back pocket, in about 3 days, it looks like I'm writing on a banana. You know, I've set on it and it's all bent down and crinkled. And so this helps keep that straight for me. So the flap slides under here. It's got a little spot for a card in here. This is a cool little thing. I didn't see any of those last night when I was there. And I don't know if they still make it, but man, still smells like leather to me. I love that, love that, love that. Virginia Man, thanks for being on the show. Linda Lawless, Kathy Taylor, Pat Brooks, welcome to you. I always introduce Pat as lots of ways, man. I introduce Pat as the emoji queen because we all know that she is. And we always introduce her with this right here, the Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle book. Yeah, I wrote the stories, but I didn't do the art. Pat did that, and she did just a terrific job. In fact, Pat's art is amazing. I asked her to do art that's more of a hand-styled calligraphy. None of this is all done by hand, and that's the incredible thing about this. Actually, it comes out of her brain. She just thinks differently than most people, and I think that's one of the big questions that I ask artists a lot. What sets you apart? Not can you paint like somebody else, not can you copy works, but what is it that sets you apart? What is it that sets you apart? Ta-da! So, and I think some of it is just our worldview. We haven't looked at enough other art, or you just haven't found your voice yet. And some of you have found your voice, and some of you are. Don't worry. All of the practice that you're putting in will never, ever be wasted. I wandered aimlessly in the world of trees among art, thinking landscape, architectural buildings. No, not any good at that. Calligraphy work. No, trust me. Still write like I did in the 3rd grade on the board. My point is this. The time will come when all of those tested avenues lead you to what you trust in your style. If you love it enough to keep going, stay behind the mule. That's what Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is about. It's not, don't be disappointed if you buy this book and think, well, he didn't tell me how to be a watercolor artist in here. I really can't tell you how to be one. I can tell you the tools that I use. I can tell you the pens that I use. I can tell you the paper that I use and all those pieces of that, pens, paper, and paint. I can tell you what I love about all those. But I can't tell you how to be an artist. I can't tell you how to find your style. I can tell you to push until you find something that just goes, boom, it connects. It connects in your personality. It connects in your flavor. It connects in who you are. And that's what Roosters did for me. Carol pushed me there as I was trying to paint all sorts of other things. Now I branch out. Now I go over there and I'll paint something, or around this time of the year, I paint Christmas scenes. I paint these little scenes of the nativity, and I put my personality and my character into those as a storyteller. Art to me, as I went through yesterday, is all fodder for stories. And you think, well, you're limiting your art. No, I'm not. It has to tell a story. When I'm done here today, I've got some odd jobs around here that I have to finish up and things we've got to get ready. The Christmas tree's up. I will pack up my camera gear, all my equipment, and I'll traipse to downtown Charlotte. And I'll meet an artist there. And I get the privilege of sitting down with her. In fact, I got the privilege the last 2 days over the weekend of just tweaking a script for her. That's her story. And I never want to put words in someone else's mouth, but she wrote her story. And I said, let's tell it in this order and let's put this piece over here. And that's kind of what I do as a producer. I sort of edit that and I look at it and I say, I'm not changing what you say or who you are. I just want it to flow this way in the story. That's the way your art has to flow. And I'll get to tell her story tonight in probably a 2-minute video. And I'll put it together and I'll edit it and she's going to paint some for me and tell her story. And it's an amazing story. It's amazing enough that Tyndall has just published her book. And that's coming out and this story's going with that book. And so when it's all said and done, I will make sure that you get a link. And I'm just happy to do my part. So that's what happens today. So this art of hers that she's working on, it's this abstract concept, but when you hear what it's founded on, when you hear what it's based on, you'll love where she's going with it. Sweet lady. She and my wife have been friends for a long, long time. We see her at art crawls and all these places that we go to. And anyway, all right. So that's his life. This is the life that I live in as an artist. So my world touches all these other artists in part of my worldview. And I look and see what they're doing and I go, there is no way I could do that. There is no way I could do this. That's not my style. I wouldn't know how to start. First of all, I couldn't spell consistently. And I certainly couldn't spell inconsistently. I could spell inconsistently. You see, my point is that it takes other styles to collaborate sometimes and work on things like that. Doodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is available on Amazon.com. Or I think you can send me a note. I don't know that I have. I don't even know if I have any coming in right now. So it's just been the craziest fall and the most beautiful, busy process that I've been into in a long time. Wow. Denise Albright, thanks for being on from Central California, Exeter, I believe you say. Chip Fur coming to you from the soggy, foggy, saturated grapevine fields of Napa. Chip, my dear brother that I paint with here and roast coffee with some days. I don't roast it. I just look at it and smell it. He's out in Napa. Woo, painting grapes today. Yesterday he sent me a picture of the French Laundry, and I just said, oh, I had some shirts I could have sent with you. But I don't think I got the point there. Hey, brother. Karen Bender, thank you. Becky Bailey, Woodstock, Vermont. Don't you love that? Barbara Meyer, thank you. Lee Schwinn, good morning from Kentucky. Lee, there have been a lot of prayers sent to the people in Kentucky. And, we will never understand the process of how storms gather and why they hit where they hit. I know this. I just hope that there's as the sun starts to shine, there's a movement that moves through that city that changes it forever. And I don't mean that in a drastic way, but I mean in a way that pull people together. So that's sort of my prayer for you guys. Even if you're hit, you're not hit, just where brother reaches brother, sister, and that sort of thing. So that's my prayer for that place. Janine Mallet, thank you. I think I saw you on the show last night. Jennifer Thistle, Trish Brown, Rhonda D. Hart says, sniffle, snort, hack, hack. Yeah, me too. Wow. Mickey Hupp. Let's see here. Storytelling. Oh, there's Sharon Kirk Clifton. Good morning from the Hoosier Lands. Woo, the Hoosier Lands. And Wester's own Hoosier Lands. My mom had a Hoosier. She had a Hoosier cabinet, and I think one winter day I chopped it up and we burned it in the stove. That's a true story. I wish I had it back. Lisa May, thanks for being on the show. Kelly Berger, Lynn Brown, June Jones, welcome. Tiffany Lyons. Tiffany has an angel from Bernie, California on her little picture. Catherine Brousseau. All right, let's do this. Dana Smith. Is it Dana Smith? Thanks for being on the show this morning. Okay. I think we should all be called the Roo Crew. All right, here we go. Great live with Buffalo Jackson last night. Thanks, Denise. It's fun. Those guys they're just dear friends. I've had coffee. I've known Zan for over 10 years, the owner, founder of that place, and he's a great young man. All those are young people, so I get to go hang out with these young people who think like artists and who design, and so that's part of my go into that world. And they like storytelling, and they like my sense of humor, and so we get to connect on things like that. So that's kind of how I get into that thing. Kathy, thank you for your word of inspiration. I appreciate that. Randall Taylor Craven. All right, I'm going to jump ahead here. Chris Young, thanks for being on the show. Scott Lotta from, you got it, from Blunsville, Alabama. I was thinking about you the other day when somebody said, you know anybody in Alabama? And I went, no, but I did really. I'm just kidding. Jack Wolfenbarger, thanks for being on the Wolfenbarger. I remember Wolfenbarger when I was just coming right into, before high school. And I go, his name is what? And they go, Wolfenbarger. And I love that. All right, here we go. I'm going to jump into this. Pat Lightbody, welcome to the show. Elaine Barnett, love it, from Palm Harbor, Florida. I think I'm coming to Florida in February. I think I'm going to hang out in Florida for about 10 days. My wife has some work down there, and I think I'm going to go down and paint some, and I might write some. I will do some video and work while I'm there, but I'm going to be in the beach area, northern part of Florida. All right, here we go. Every day is a little better with art, or every day is better with a little art. Yeah, I love that. I read that completely different, didn't I? All right, here we go. Let's do this. Man, a lot of people piled on the show. Thank you for being on today. I appreciate you being here. Michael Shield says, my painting has arrived. Hallelujah. I always love it when they show up because, about twice a month, I get an email that says, I haven't heard from you. And I'm going like, yeah, I don't know where sometimes my email goes. Honest to goodness. I'm great at sending emails. I'm not so good at getting to the post office every now and then, or mailing it here, or does the lady pick it up when I hang it on my box? But they get delayed sometimes. I think she leaves them in the back of her Jeep for a week. I haven't figured it out, but they're cost. So when I am elated when one shows up. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. We'll put some music on, and I'm going to paint a Christmas piece. I think I'm going to break out. Some. Wait, look at this. Wait a minute. I was going to open this paper, but I might wait until the weekend and open this if I can squeak by. Maybe not, because may have one more sheet in here. Oh, I have a 300-pound piece. Wow. That is so cool. But I don't think I'm going to paint on that 300-pound piece this morning. I think I'm just going to rip this out. And I do think I'm going to take this 300-pound piece out, though, and hang it up here on the wall. I don't know if I can even rip it. I got to rip the whole thing apart. I'm the kind of guy who says, yeah, I'm busy, but then I'll go out and stretch this out in the vise and see how long it is. Just because, I'm that guy. This paper right here is like painting on cardstock, but it's 300-pound watercolor paper, and it is fabulous. And I'm just going to put it in a safe place for a minute right there. And I may still have to open this one today, but there we go. All right, so it's 140-pound Kilimanjaro, if you saw the cover. It's bright white, pure rag cotton. I get this from Cheap Joe's. It's the paper that I started on over, it's getting up there now. What, 12, 15 years ago? Maybe a little less than that, but I've certainly been, when I got into good watercolor paper, the paper that I wanted to pop, this is what I did. And I really bought it for this reason. I had no idea it was as good as it is. I bought it because of the size. It just seemed kind of awesome. It fit in my notebook well, or my bag, one way or the other. And I loved it. I didn't know it was going to be a paper that I just appreciated as much. So let me grab a Pentel pen, and let's just sketch a little Christmas scene here this morning. What do you think? Let's do something here. What's this piece of music say? No, I don't want to paint to that. That sounds nice. A little orchestra in the background here. I think this painting needs a little bit of tape on it. Yeah, let's do that. Here's some tape laying here. Let me stick a few pieces of this to my vest here. Here's what I'm doing right here. I'm just sticking it right here on the Sherpa, on the wool part of this vest, just to get some fuzz on the back of the paper. There we go. There's 3 stripes. I got it. 3 stripes here out. Now I got one more here. 4 stripes of this. So I put it on there. That takes a little of the adhesive off. So when I get ready to peel it up, I don't ruin the paper. This is pretty good, pretty stiff art tape. I don't know where this piece of music's going, but I like it. So there, I just taped it off like that. Can you see that? There's a little tape ridge all the way around. I put a little lint on the back side of that tape, so when I get ready to pull it off here in a minute, it really isn't as bad if you put it on and take it right off. But sometimes people will just do that. They'll stick it down to the paper, they'll peel it off and stick it down again, and that's enough right there. But I just don't want to rip a piece of watercolor paper after I've spent some time on it. Little Irish music, Teresa Clark Salvigo says. Hey, if you got a couple of questions, toss them in there, and I'll keep lookout while I'm painting a couple little Christmas pictures this morning. If there's anything that I haven't answered in the last year and a half about my life or or art or anything else, I'll try and tackle it for you. So let me know. Just post it in there and I'll jump on it. All right. Charles Chandler is on the show. Hey, brother. Thanks, man. I just saw you. Wait, thanks for popping up. I pray you're well, brother. I'm okay. I'm here, but in the middle of a seismic update, Laura Abbott says. Okay. Wow. Hey, thank you guys for jumping on. And being a part of this show. Look, here's the thing. Don't give up on your art just because you haven't found your visual voice yet, because I just need you to keep plowing and it'll come to you. You have to realize too that some things you paint are just not good. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been at it. I will promise you, if you were able to understudy under some of the greats of all time, and I'm talking about the masters, the Dutch masters, I don't care who they were, I'll promise you somewhere behind the closet door, if they even had a closet and they had a door on it, there's a stack of paper that they went, let's paint over that. In fact, it's very, very, very likely that if you bought a painting, then you couldn't afford them now because of who they are, but you would have bought a painting and it would have been ghosted. There would have been 2 or 3 different paintings underneath that painting that he went, I'm not, because those canvases were money to them, and those guys squeaked by. You know, I thought it was always so fascinating that the church sort of paid the early artists, and then of course it was in my generation that we ran away from the arts. You know, we like, we don't want to deal with the arts. Oh, no telling what's there. But back in those days, and unfortunately, those artists got a raw deal sometimes. And this is not a political statement about artists, but I do think it's amazing that we started that way by trying to spread the arts out and let people see it. And then it became so opulent that you lost a lot of it. And it got to be who's got the best art and who's got the most glitter and the most gold and all that. So basically, I want you just to keep plowing ahead if you love it. And I want you to just use paper. Don't paint on the back. Watercolor paper is cheap. My daughter says this, and I say it often. And in fact, I said it to my dear friend Chip. If you go buy a little pad and you want to paint on 6x6 fluid paper, and you say, that's what I'm going to paint on. In fact, there's a little cardinal that goes out today. keep saying reflection, reflection, reflection. So if you want to paint on this, buy 2 of these, okay? You're going to get 15 sheets of paper. Just buy 2, because you might throw 10 of those away. You might just say, I don't want to do that painting like that, or I might want to give 4 away. And so we buy 1 sheet. We have to think, this is going to last me for the next month. That's not working hard at your art. You're not going to waste paper, but start painting on supplies that are right at the line of what you can afford. Or, you know what? Sell a couple paintings and do what I did. Add that into the next paper batch. And now, actually, in the last year and a half, I've had a couple art stores just give me some paper and say, try this. And I'll go, well, I don't know if I like it. It doesn't matter. We want to see if you do. And they're excited about you guys as community. Every time you guys buy something from Cheap Joe's, or those people say, oh, Roo told me to get this. I'm going like, well, I didn't tell you to, but I told you might like it. They're going like, thank you, but could you try something else? And so that's how yesterday I got into this whole deal about 1264 Fabriano, which, by the way, I will probably use all this, and I'll use it one more time. I like the feel of it. I'm going to paint a larger rooster on it. I don't think I'm going to get to it this morning, but I like it. All right, so here we go. We need a Cheap Joe's in Madison, Wisconsin. They ship to you guys in 6x6. Yes, 8x8 is a great size, Chris, and I love 8x8. There's usually a pad of it lying here on my desk somewhere. I don't see it right now, but it's usually here. 8x8 is great. This is 5.5 by 9.5. And this is one of my favorites. I love 6x8 too. You might find that what you paint and the style that you do, a piece of paper already cut helps you. Folks get into this, and sometimes you go down that well. You go down the hole that says, oh, I can make my own paper. If you start making your own paper, the chances of you making your own paper, letting that dry, coming back to it and painting on it the next day is pretty slim. Oh, I can make my own paint. Look, if you're Mako Fujimura and you want white paint, he will take 12 to 14 hours and crush oyster shells and add the polymers and the oils and the egg, whatever he needs to add to make his own white paint. But that's because he can afford to, but that's also because he's steeped in everything coming at it at such an angle, and that's just who he is. It's remarkable. I don't have that kind of time. I'm a storyteller who's very fast brain. Okay, you know fast brain, right? Us ADD, ADHD guys. Linda Lawless says this. I listened to an artist yesterday who said she learns the most from her duds. Okay, duds is not, I didn't misread this. You didn't say dudes, she said duds. That means the paintings that she flubs up on, that she messes up on. She takes it back out and she goes, why did I do that way? I should have done it this way. That's a brilliant way to learn. So remember I told you early on, a year and a half ago, I don't throw my paintings away. It's warming up in my office today. I'm preaching, I'm on the box. I don't throw my paintings away unless I know that I'm done with it and I don't want it. I'll hold it here. Even if I mess it up, I'll take a look at it. I'll put it over there in a stack and I'll go through it a couple more times and go, you know, if I added this or moved that around here, this would work. So I do that quite often. And I want you to get in the habit of doing that also. It might help you. Okay? Ooh, look at that. Kathy Morrow said, sent an order to Cheap Joe's last night. A couple of new brushes, some tubes of American Journey paint. Fun. That is awesome. I love it when people do that. Today I'm going to paint with American Journey brush. I'm also going to paint with this Yasutoma brush right here, which I think will give us a nice little look. This is just a little Christmas painting. I'm sketching with a Pentel 05. Just throw a little bit of line in here like this. Look at this little hatching, cross hatching. I think you can see where this is going. Sounds like old Christmas tree, huh? I buy this music from a production company, so it's hard to tell sometimes what I get. All right, so there's my little painting this morning. That's a fun little thing to run with. Just a little Christmas painting. It doesn't take a whole lot to tell a story. If my grandkids are coming over and they're going like, Rue, have you lost your cotton picking mind? What is that? Why are there chickens at the nativity? And I'm going like, why are there any other animals at the nativity? I don't know that there were. I asked a group of church folks the other night. I met with some folks and I said, can you guys, I've got a door prize for anybody who can name the animals at the nativity. I mean, we're talking to this church staff that I met with. Can you guys name the animals at the nativity? So I said, talk amongst yourself at your table and then get back to me. And so lo and behold, I didn't mean to say lo and behold, but I just did. Lo and behold, they, hand goes up. He goes, we have 5. We think there was probably a camel and a donkey and a cow and and then he goes, pig. And I'm like, pig? A pig? Maybe it's Palestine, it's Bethlehem, but maybe it's a pig, but I don't know. And what else? And nobody said chickens. And then they said, what's the real answer? And I said, we don't know. There may have been some because it was a stable, but nothing's ever mentioned. And you're thinking, oh yes, there was a donkey. And you go, no, there wasn't. We don't know that. It's never mentioned. The donkey could have been left outside. They rode into town on one, but so think about it. We see this story told through the eyes of the Renaissance artist who said, we read the story, but let's add some shepherds. Let's add some more sheep. Those shepherds ran to get there. I don't know if the sheep came along. Okay, let's get all the sheep. Hey, let's gather them up and bring them all over. The sheep are going to want to see this. We don't know that they ever came. We don't know if the wise men even made it during that time. We don't know if the cattle were lowing. That's in songs. And I'm stepping on your story here, but I'm thinking you're going like, oh, we're seeing this through the eyes of art. It's the postcard that you mail out with everything there and pristine and everything in place and the package of gold and the frankincense and the myrrh all opened up. And you think, oh my gosh, what is this? We're not really sure. We just trusted the artist. That's a scary thing, isn't it? When you start trusting artists. Wow, is that remarkable? Yeah, we're not real sure, and yet we are sure. So we'll argue about the fact that, here I am standing on stage emceeing this event, and I'm getting ready to argue with people who are the staff at the church saying, oh, yes, there was animals there. And I said, who says this? And they're going like, well, it says it in the, no, it doesn't. It just says they went into this stable and maybe he shooed all the animals out. Shooed, that's a good Southern word. Maybe shoot them out. I think that's when you take your shoe and whack them. Is that how that word got started? Shoo these people out of here. Shoo these animals out of here. All right. See, I just wanted to show you something about my art today when I'm talking about art telling the story. All right, so there we go. That's how I got into that and got in trouble. Fascinating, though, isn't it? Huh? All right. Makes sense that chickens were there, Rhonda the art says. Maybe. But were chickens been in the stable with the other animals? Maybe. Maybe they had a roost going on in there. I like to think that they were in my storytelling, but that doesn't make it right. It just makes it a part of the way that I see the story. And is that okay? Is that against the rules? I don't think so at all. I think that's part of your embracing the story that you want to tell. This is a real simple little painting. I think you've got it already. I think I could add something to it that would be really fun right here. Maybe another little peep up here. I wasn't planning on this peep, but I'm going to put him up here in the tree limb like this. You see him right there. There's a little peep right there. And he's got oh, this will be good, I think. I think this is going to work here. Before Christmas, we had to rely on artists. Before cameras. Hey, that's a great thought. Before cameras, we had to rely on artists. That's pretty funny. Perfect. Cue the music. Cue the music. I don't know how you create your stories, but sometimes I just let mine just wake up as I go. These little whimsical stories that I do are a great way for me to talk to my grandkids about my perspective of what I think that night was all about. And so that works for me. A little gray in here on that blue. It's right in there. Don't want too much in there. Come in here with a little bit of shadow. Just a little bit of yellow being cast down. Here's this light that I did. And if you look close at this painting, you'll see that this little peep up here has a lantern in his hand. So I get a reenactment of this night, which you've seen so many people and children do over the years, where they dress up in towels and robes and shepherds with bathrobes and canes and sticks that you cut out of the backyard and all that stuff. Just a little bit of splatter here, and I think I'm done with this. Now, just for fun, there's the little painting right there, and let me peel off this tape, see what we get. Oh, that looks cool. See how that just works really well, because it's now I've got this beautiful little frame. Well, all right, so beautiful is not a word that most people say about this, but here it is right here. Doesn't take much to tell the story, people. 12:21. Fear not. The line is fear not. Okay? If you're working with young artists, you have to cue them sometimes. Fear not. And there is a little halo right here on this. Let me see if I can do this for you. Just to give you a little bigger view of this painting that just appeared. Not disappeared, as my kids used to say. There it is right there. There's the little painting right there. Boom. Okay. Fear not, the line is fear not. So you get it from a director's standpoint of view when he says to you, and you're acting somewhere and you go, line, I need the line. They're going to edit that anyway. So that's what happens. Come back in here, add a little detail here. A little bit of grass over here. I like that. It's a great little painting. And you see the size of it. Here it is right here. It comes in a pack just like this, and I've taped it around the edge. So now you're looking at a painting that's total framed in. It's you still go 8.5 by 5 by 7 would not do it. It's going to need to be 5.25 by 8.5, and just mat it and then drop it in maybe an 8 by 10 frame. You want it to frame a little bit bigger than this. That makes a great Christmas story right there. There's a Christmas story. I can see people sitting down and going like, oh, tell me the Christmas story. And you go, well, here's a little piece that I painted for it. And you're like, what? And fear not. And you go, what's that mean? Our church right now is doing a whole series on fear not. Fear not. It's said so many times. The angel said it to Mary. The angel said it to the shepherd. The angel said it to Joseph. Fear not. That's all the way through here. And yet, when we watch the news, we're afraid. I'm preaching today, man. Tuesday must be the preaching day. All right. All right. All part of the folk process, Randall Taylor Craven says. Yes, isn't that amazing? So I had painted a nativity set in the early 80s. It was a cow, a donkey, a sheep, and a llama, but no chickens. And there's the thing. See, we don't even know that those animals were there. No one ever said that. Has anyone been bold enough to write it yet in the comments? The Bible doesn't say that there are animals there. It just says she went into the stable with Joseph. I would have kicked those animals out of there. Hey, get out. Okay. Preach it, Heather says. Throughout history, people disagreed about which animals were present. That is why we have so many denominations. I love it. So are you telling me that if I grew up in the country as a Baptist, I'd love fried chicken? All right. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love Christmas time because you can push the edge a little bit of what people think is good and not. And we do this in everything, though, So I only catch 12 seconds of news every day, and that's if I go out to like I drove out yesterday and I hit the radio to check traffic, and then I caught a little news story and I went, what am I listening to this for? So I only got a 12-second piece. All right. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I want to do one more for you this morning, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece of paper right here. I was going to do another Christmas painting, but I'll wait and do one Saturday for you. I'm going to take this 1264 Bristol vellum paper one more day. Here it is. I'm going to clean up the area around me right here a little bit. I'm going to take this painting. I'll post this painting later. Some of you may be interested in this. I'll throw it out there in a little bit of a Christmas auction. Do a little bit more. Once it dries, I'll just make sure I have all the detail in there. Got this eye in pretty well already. This one could use a little more eye. Tree could use a little bit. I didn't really want to put leaves on the trees because I think it's in the coolness. I could do a little bit of a tie on this rope. It's just cast over the limb a little bit. I always like to look like the chickens tied themselves in. It's just kind of fun. And then there's the concept right there. All right, I'm dropping that over there on the floor, and I promise I'll try not to step on it on the way out. This is 1264, which is the year that this hammer mill happened in Fabriano, Italy. It was created in 1264, not this piece of paper. It's old, but not that old. So I'm going to grab a piece of it. It's just on a pad. It's not on a block, a watercolor block. There's a big difference, remember. If you're a watercolor artist, this is a watercolor pad also. This is Kilimanjaro. A watercolor block is glued down all the way around except for one little corner where you have to get that up. It helps keep your paper flat if you have the tendency to add more water than you need to add to a painting. And that's kind of why it's like that. It's already been sized. It has some sizing, which is not the measurements, but the material that helps make the watercolor do what it's supposed to do, the pigment on the paper. What I thought I wanted to try on this paper, yesterday I painted just a normal little scene on it and sold that yesterday. Somebody took it. But what I wanted to try right now was I wanted to try a little bit with my liquid watercolor papers on here just to give it a little feel for, is this where I'm going to go? And I think I bought some, oh yeah, I did. I bought some new white. And this is very bright white, but I think I want to drop it on the front. I'm always trying to reach in here and get some out of this. So these are, these watercolors are Dr. P.H. Martin's, and it's called Hydrus. It's fine, and this is not ink. Did I say it one more time? This is not ink. This is watercolor. It's just liquid watercolor. It would be the same if I took my red tube and I took my little dish right here, wherever it is, my treasure dish, a clean one. If I took a little dish and I squeezed this in here and I kept adding water until I got it to turn into soup. When I painted with Lin Zin, the Chinese artist, we had 3 bowls. We were welcome to have 3 bowls on top of the desk. And in those bowls, we had red, yellow, and blue. And we would add water to those bowls and we would dilute it. And we would just take the bowl and pour it sometimes on the paper and then pick up the straw or pick it up. If you had on a white shirt, you tend to use a straw. If you don't, just blow it and it'll come back on you. You blow it, and then out of that paint our design. If we were painting coral under the sea, or if we were finding koi fish, or if we were finding grapes. So basically, this is just liquid watercolor. I want you to understand that when you use it. But it is so dark in the pigments that if you use it, you want to clear an area and have some extra paper towels because it's not the neatest thing to work with. It'll get kind of messy. So I'm going to take this and this brush. I'm going to use a bigger brush too. Right now, I'm moving everything out of the way that I don't want to just get annihilated by. Wait, I'm going to put these brushes back in here before I ruin them. Annihilated by the wrong color. And I want to grab a bigger brush. I'm going to grab this brush and this brush. That looks big enough. And I grabbed, believe it or not, I grabbed my llama pen, or mama, as John Robert Small calls it. Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so basically what I've got, you can see the whole piece of paper right there, boom to boom. I'm going to leave it that big if that's okay. I'll try not to paint down here below. Maybe I'll come out just a little bit more. Let's go to here. All right, that's a little better. All right, okay. So I love that piece of music. Let's do it one more time, and I'll just paint to that. That's a great piece of music. Here it goes. All right, I'm going to sketch a little bit of a Roo here. I think I'm going to sketch him this way. All right, that's all I'm going to do right there. I'm going to grab a different pen right here. Just going to grab this pen and go in and put his feet in. And I'll tell you why I did that in just a second when we get there. Okay? All right, now let's just drop some color in here to see what happens. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some of this, this is called, I think it's called Permanent Red. Permanent Red, it's a CAD red. CAD used to be years ago that it was a paint with a little bit of metal in it, so you had to be careful not getting in your hands. They've changed a lot of this in the last few years just from safety regulations and things. This is Ultramarine Blue, one of my favorite blues. And I'm gonna do how I change. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna do this a little differently, just because I want to see how it responds to this paper. I've got a bamboo brush, a number 1 here, a 0 actually, and I'm just adding a little bit of this. And what's happening is the water from the brush and is causing that black pen ink to bleed into the paint, and that's what I wanted also. Okay, I'm just gonna throw some water down there, let that go. Then I'm gonna take one of these bigger brushes, and I'm just going to go in here, and I'm just going to paint some places where I think feathers are going to be in the tail of this rooster. I can't hardly see them either, so don't worry about not being able to see this water. I really can't. I don't know where all it's going. Usually you get a glare, but I don't know where all that's happening. So what I'm going to do now is, you can see it starting to run already. Can you see that red is doing its own thing? Look, it's taking off. But before it can get all the way up there, I'm gonna drop a little blue in, just like that right there, and let the blue take off, okay? So what's the blue doing? Well, the blue is following the water. Now I'm just gonna go in here and just let this brush dance a little bit by adding a little more water coming in. Wherever there's some extra water, that's going to come out there. I'm not going to touch that much right there. You see, there's some places that are darker than others. It's going to take this a little longer to dry because I've added so much pigment to it. But how fun is that? Okay, so let's go in, shake this up. This is gamboge. Oh, you never heard me use this before, right? A little gamboge. I'm going to drop some right there. I didn't put water in there first. Did you notice that? Okay. This dauber, is that what it's called? That little needle is like worthless. Oh, there, that one works. Okay, so I'm going to get a little here and put some there. Now watch this. I'm just going to, that may be too much. Let me get a little bit of that out of there. And I need an eraser. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to touch this with a little brush right here and just make it come in on this a little bit. If it starts to look a little bit green, there's a reason for that. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this straw right here. It's just a short little piece of drinking straw, and I'm gonna lean down and I'm gonna blow in this right here and just go. Just like that. Just give myself a little splash of that going back, and here's why. And then I touched that red. And I touched it too much. I meant to touch it, but I didn't mean to get into it that deep. And so I'm going to come back in here and add a little bit of yellow. I want this to come out. And what I've got is those little spirals that go out that look like loose feathers. I'm just going to leave those in there because I love the way that looks. I want to add just a touch of carbon black. Just right here, just one little drop. If I can get one little drop to drop, there it goes right there. That was about a drop and a half. Why? Why did I do that? I don't know. I just felt like I needed it a little bit there. And I'm going to splatter some water on that and just let it sort of come down into the back. Plus, I love the shadows that are underneath these blue feathers. I like, when I grew up on our place, we called it the place. We didn't call it the farm. It really wasn't a farm. It was more of a place. Get some purple coming in there. That's a little too much black right in there, so I'm going to get rid of some of that. I just erase it like that. I want a little more yellow, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of this right here and come in, and I'm going to mix that yellow with a little blue, and I want to add a little bit of green on the bottom end. So I just use my painting as a palette once again. Remember, you can do this. You guys can do all of this very easily, and maybe you're doing it now in whatever style. If you're painting landscape and you want to create some trees that have that different blue-green look, the spruce of this winter, you can grab it that way. This is a cool-looking rooster, and I'm really enjoying this paper so far. The only thing I'm going to add now, and I could go in here and get it right here. I could go, well, I'll just do it. Instead of me saying I could, watch this. I'm going to grab a smaller brush right here. I'm going to wet it a little bit. I got a number 4. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to grab some of this yellow by just laying my brush in it on its side right there. Just grab a little yellow right there. Then I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to grab a little red in the same brush right there. And a little more yellow right here. And then I'm going to go down here. That's too much. That is way too much red. It's so overpowering. So I'll try to grab a little more yellow. I may not have enough in here, but I think I might. There we go. Now I've got a little painting. I'm going to touch a little yellow in this brush. It needed more. And I'm going to use it. There's a little touch of it right there. There we go. I'm working on mixing my leg color right out of the same palette. Okay, so that's how I sort of come up with that. And then I'll grab what's left on this brush. I'll just grab a little bit right here and put it in there just to give it a little bit of shadow. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this black and shadow right in here. Right in here, shadow this. I love using my painting as the palette just to go, hey, I can scoop those colors up from there. That works really well. One of the things that's happening on this paper right here is I'm getting this beautiful bleed right in here in the green. It's mushrooming out. It's creating this little cloud and separating some, and it's giving me a great look. So remember, I just let this happen. This is very abstract, and yet you go, no, it's not. That's not an abstract painting. Well, kinda. Believe it or not. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm taking a fine line marker. This is just an ultrafine flare pen, and I'm just creating some cross-hatching here, and I want a little heavier cross-hatch down here. Why? And a little heavier cross-hatch right here, and then I want some that's coming out that goes around like this because I'm mimicking the shadow underneath the bird. So I'm going to go in here and grab some of this. This will be a little darker right here where I added that extra crosshatch. This will be a little darker right here. And I wanted some of this to just kind of come out in the swirls like his feathers. There we go. So you see how fast this is. By the way, a brush like this bamboo brush, man, it works great for this. It is just like a feather going across, but a controlled feather. Hey, I'm not painting out here freehand. I'm resting my hand. Sometimes I'll grab it like this. Sometimes I will get loose and I'll just get out here and go like this. But very rarely, most of the time, I have my hand and my fingers are just pushing this brush around because of where I hold it. I'm not holding down here. I'm not in here tight. I'm just barely every now and then letting my hand rest and touch. I need a little bit of green, so let me grab some. I don't want to mess that up, though. Let's grab some of this green right here. There we go. I'll grab some of that green and come in here and just create a little bit of green underneath the bird. If you haven't done a painting yet where you trust your painting to be the palette, and you wonder like, well, these colors go together, and you go, I wonder why. They were all mixed right here. So there are two ways to do this. One is you keep going back to the well and you keep adding, you're going back and you add, and you add, and you add, and then you have all these little spots. If that's your style, more power to you. My style is this blended piece that comes out of all the thing looking a little the same. And so now I'm just going to create some little grass streaks in here with this brush. My hand is up. I'm just pushing it in. I can do another thing. Watch this. You've seen me do this before. I can grab this brush right here and spread it apart a little bit, just like this. Pull the hair down. This one's so long, it's struggling with it a little bit, but there we go. There, it's coming apart a little bit right there. And then I can dip that in and just kind of go in here, and I get 4 or 5 strands of grass at the same time. Whoa, that works perfectly. This brush is so good, it comes back to a brilliant point. Yasutoma, some of my favorite brushes, they just are. In fact, bamboo brushes, I love them because of what you can do with them. I think this needs a little shadow right here behind this. Love it, love it, love it. And a little shadow there. You know, everything's not pristine red. These are working roos. You know, these are roos on the farm. These are roos that, what I'm doing now is just rolling my brush in this. And I need a little bit of red. I need some more of that red. I'm going to grab a little bit right here on the end of this brush. Boop. And then just pop it right in there for some beauty marks. As Lee and Zen used to call them. Hey, man, your rooster needs some beauty marks. And so he would splatter like this. That's good for splattering your white shirts too. Yeah, that always works great. At least I took off my vest. Okay. So what I have here now is I need a little bit more of this yellow orange that I had right here. And I want to clean up this foot just a tad, because I'm going to go back in there in just a second. I'm going to add a little bit of detail. And I'm going to do that with maybe this 07 Energel pen, because they write pretty well. I'm going to add some toenails. There they are. I'll just add those with that. No sense painting those when I have a pen that does like this. But I am going to draw a little bit of veining in the feet. That'll just make them look like they're finished. Little toenail coming back off there, and some little dots and spiral. I can go in here and just add a little bit of feathers for detail. Look at this. Little curved lines coming in like that. And I want this eye to be just a tad bigger, and maybe a little bit of eyelash. And what I'm doing now is I'm using my pen as a brush, and I'm just pushing some of that color out. I'm going to have to clean this pen really well in just a second. I'm going to go run it through the dishwasher. Here it is right here. There, just ran it through the dishwasher. And then just get it to make sure it's writing again. Boom, put it up dry. Take care of your pens if you can. All right. Make a fine hat out of that tail. What color is the shadow? Miss Carla, the shadow was a mixture of the ink on this pen and also a little bit of the paint that I mixed from here. So what you get is that blue-green. I picked this up and did that. So this rooster, I'm telling you what, I've painted a lot of roosters. Here's where the artist gets a little, he pontificates. This is one of my favorites. This guy rocks. I don't know what he's saying yet, but I think he's going to have one of my favorite sayings on it right here in this block. And I love him. He is good. And this paper, this vellum, the way it grabbed this, the Bristol board, the way it causes it to run, and it's going to take this painting a couple hours to really dry to where I feel like it's knocked out. So I got 5 minutes to go, not by anybody's clock but mine, because I have work to do today, and you do too. Thanks for hanging on as long as you have. Hey, thanks for liking the show. Thanks for hitting the little like buttons up there and letting people know. It makes a difference to Facebook and what I do. And so thank you for doing that, just letting me know how you feel about the show. Keep sending me some notes. I'm in trouble. I don't know what you're talking about. So your work can either imitate me or inspire me. I choose inspire and blow up the intimidate. Pat Lightbody, thank you. My work is never meant to intimidate. My work is meant for you to say, look what he did with a brush and just some drops of color. You decide where you're going to go with yours. Could I do this with a landscape and trees? Yes. Artists who tend to say, and this is why if you go back and you look at early shows that I did in 2020, I said, don't forget these rules. If you want to learn how to paint something, paint it 50 times. And after that, paint it 50 more. I can sit down and draw a lobster now and without even thinking about the muscle memory of how all the 10 legs of the lobster look. 4 on the side, the other 2. You go, those are claws. Yeah, but they're legs too. That's just how God created him. How his tail is made. Is it perfect? No. Is it ever going to be? No. It's a storytelling creature that is out there. And so, but for me, roosters are like that too. So will I ever paint fine art roosters that look like photographs? No, that's not my style, and that's not what I want to do. My roosters are storytellers. I already told you, they're the troubadour. They're the farm bard. They're the poets who proclaim. They proclaim morning. They proclaim I'm in charge. They proclaim it's dinner time. They proclaim we found a bug. They proclaim don't come into the barnyard. I'll take care of you if you mess with the hens. They're the boisterous poet. And so for me, that's the story. But don't be intimidated by a few drops of paint and swirling the brush in the right direction. That comes after a long time of swirling the brush to get that direction. Okay? So, you also laid down a watercolor paint. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take 2 minutes and show you this sketch again. Watch this. All right, here we go. Let me lay this in the floor. I'll put a caption on it. It's going to show up on the page later today. Here we go. You know what? I'm just going to grab that same paper. What the heck did I do with it? Here it is. All right. I've been talking to you about wasting paper. Let's just waste a piece. Here we go. That's not a waste. This is a teach. Here we go. I'm going to whack this paper in half right here, just like this. So stay with me for 2 minutes and I'll do this. All right. There it is right there. Zip, zip. All right. There's a piece cut about 9 by something. Okay. 6 by 12, 6 by 9. Okay. What I did was I had this rooster that had his feet down here like this. Here's his bottom side. His leg comes down like this. And there's his toe. Remember I told you I stopped and I changed my pen. I was going to paint the rooster with this pen, and I started painting him with this pen. You remember that? I started with this pen right here, and then I shifted gears and said, oh, I want to finish this foot with this pen. Here's the reason. This pen bleeds on this paper unbelievably. It just takes off and runs like crazy. How do I know that? Because I know stuff like that, okay? So I'm going to take this pen and I'm going to drop this leg back like this, and then I'm going to stack this toe up here like this. So now I have this rooster, and he's walking across the yard. Now watch what happens here real fast. If I were to go in here just with clean water, and I were to pick up this pen, look at that. That's the Lamy fountain pen. That's the bleed that you see going on right there. Take a look. This is just happening like crazy, okay? I'm just dancing this brush in there with its light little feathery look, and I start to get that. If I wanted to add a little blue, I could just add a little blue right in here like this, okay? And I'm loving this paper. The more I paint with it, the more I love it, okay? Especially for the wet, wet, wet application that I take, okay? Now, the reason I changed from this pen to this pen is this pen bleeds less on this paper. Promise you it does, all right? So I shifted so I wouldn't have to deal with all this black ink running. It's just going to run with the amount of water I'm using. So in this case, I'm going to go grab some yellow. It's hard to get out of here with this brush. It's so wimpy when it comes here. It paints so well, but it's horrible for getting ink out of the trays. All right, so a little bit of red right in here. And I've got this nice little yellow-orange color, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to suck this into the feet just like this. And that's going to be the color. I don't think all roosters should have this yellow, orange, yellow feet. I think it's a little lighter than me. And that doesn't matter. It's just my taste. It's just my style. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just the way that I paint my roosters, okay? So we'll add a little bit of yellow-orange to that just to heighten it and give it a little shadow. And then speaking of shadow, watch this. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go in with this pen. This is here. I could use this pen, but this one, I know what color it bleeds. This is an ultrafine flare. Find a flare pen, find something that you like that bleeds the way you want it to bleed, that gives you the color. You don't have to, but I love the hatching gives me a little bit of the earth feel. So I'm going to go in here. By the way, I'm not going back and forth. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. Stroke, 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 just like this, okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm just doing it kind of quick. I'm picking my pen up and laying it back down. And then what I said I was going to do when I come in here, I'm going to cross hatch this a little heavier under here. Why am I doing that? Because I want this to be darker right under there. So now I'm crossing it at a 45 or a little less than a 45, and I'm bringing it in like this. Excuse me, my nose is just taking off today, okay? So then I'm going to add these little toenails, but I think I'm going to add those later. I'm going to go get my brush, and I want to go grab this water, and I just dropped it right on there. And I know this pen, there's no blue paint in my brush. It's just from the pen on this paper, okay? Boom. What I did then was I went and I grabbed a little bit of green and I laid it in on top. Okay, so I grabbed it in that painting and I just laid it across here like this, and I just let it bleed in like so, and that gave me my earth tones. I could also grab a little bit of brown if I wanted to, if I can get some out of here with this wimpy brush today. Come on, give up. All right, it's a couple minutes after, but some of you are still sticking with me here as I finish this. If I could get some brown out of here, I'd put a little bit, there it is, a little bit of brown coming in like that. And then, of course, I would do my detail and the toenails. and I'd wrap it up. So there's your shadow right there that came in. All right. So it was with a pen and add a color and let the water do its thing. I like this paper. Okay. All right. Hey, thank you for being on the show today. And thank you for letting me just tell a Christmas story one more time. Fear not. That's the line. You know, you would hate to be the angel, right? In the nativity, and you go, line. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Just say fear not. Fear not. Love the story. All right. Okay, I understand now. I thought you went for the paint. Thank you again for doing that. No, I do go for some paint, but and I can go back in and add a little bit of more shadowing in here with a wet pen over this. You know what? The beat goes on, as they say. Look at that. Now I've got a scratchy surface. I like it. I like this painting. Don't forget to wander. Roodoodles. There you go. Don't you love making art? Come on, people. Hey, thanks for being part of the show. I'm out of here. I'll see you Saturday morning, Lord willing, okay? Another cup of tea for me, and I'm off and running.